Abstract art is movement of painting that emerged from the early 20th century. Abstract art uses visual language from shapes, patterns, colors, and line to create an artistic creation. The abstract works often give the audiences many different levels of emotions due to the differences in the sense of beauty in each person. In Vietnam, the abstract painting is gradually becoming popular, with many artists pursuing, including foreign artists who are living and working here. Ilse Burchet is a Bulgarian-born Australian artist. She has spent 6 years pursuing abstract art in Vietnam. For her, space in Hanoi gives her a lot of inspiration to compose. Her artworks are often inspired by roads, vehicles, lotuses, or red roofs in this crowded city. With Ilse, Vietnam also brings her unique options for painting materials such as paper and silk. She particularly likes painting on thin silk sheets, though they often create striking drawings. These materials have made Ilse's abstract paintings very unique. Welcome back to our program Sharing Vietnam on VTC Net Viet channel. As a visual artist, Ilse Burchet has participated and completed a lot of artwork projects and had exhibitions in Vietnam. Especially, her abstract artwork have been highly appreciated by professionals. Today, we are going to have a talk with Miss Ilse to know more about her abstract activities, artwork in Vietnam. Thank you, Miss Ilse, for joining our program today. The very first question we'd like to ask you that after a lot of years working and doing arts in Vietnam, through your own perspective, what do you think about art in Vietnam in general and also abstract ones?
I'm familiar to a great degree with Vietnamese painting because as an artist I am very much interested in seeing what other artists are doing, of course. And I visit all the exhibitions as much as possible. And of course the Vietnam Fine Arts Museum, which is a tremendous museum, by the way, because it shows us not just the art, but historically how, art responded to events that were important for the country. So in Vietnam, in my experience and my observation, the traditional painting is very strong. The lacquer painting has enormous presence and power. It's worldwide famous. When I first arrived in Vietnam, I didn't see much anything that is like closer to abstract art. Gradually, here and there, some artists that were working more within the abstract.
So, can we know that why do you choose Vietnam as a place to develop this kind of art?
Well, I came to abstraction much earlier in my life. But when I came to Vietnam, I must say that I realized that the public is not really prepared for abstract art. But I was not prepared to give up what I gained so painfully during my years of, I must say that after 6 years in Vietnam, people are much more interested now. They kind of more relate to this abstraction. They're more curious about it. It's not a priori put aside and said, oh, I don't understand, I don't want to see it. What does it mean? But art is a visual thing. If we have to explain it all the time, then there is no point in making it. We can write a book about it. Okay? So I let people feel it. Okay, as much as possible. Of course, there is the artist statement. We can always say, generally, what we intended to do as artists, when we do abstract art. But I am very pleased when I see people curious and thinking for themselves and seeing things that they only can imagine. Okay, responding in their own way to it. This is already a connection.
As we know, abstract art is quite popular in Vietnam. However, not many people can understand the beauty of it. So what difficulties and also the challenges have you encountered during the time you are working here?
The difficulties are great because to begin with, you have to convince yourself that it's worth your while as an artist, that you're going to do something that is going to communicate something to people. that you're going to be able to convince them that it's interesting for them, one way or another. And this is something very difficult, because, as I said, it's a very unfamiliar territory. And so for people elsewhere, it's not just in Vietnam, but with more exposure to abstract art, different types of abstract art, people get more curious, and they get to think more about it. And they do take enormous pleasure out of trying to figure it out, while abstraction is a pure thought. So that's the great challenge. It's a challenge for the artist, and it's a challenge for the public. Some people like it, some people no, but that's how it is with everything else.
As a longtime painter, she has been featured in exhibitions in several countries around the world, including Bulgaria, Hong Kong, and Australia. In Vietnam, she has been holding group and solo exhibitions at Hương Art Gallery and Heritage Space. Her works are well received and highly appreciated by the public as well as professionals.
Yeah, I have seen works of Ilse in different places, some exhibitions, and I have seen this exhibition Praxis, which is heritage space, and she participated in some shows at other places as well. This is quite adventurous direction in the surroundings where abstract art is new and not so yet appreciated. But of course I know that Ilse mostly she works not like, especially she works for public, she works to express herself.
In addition to being a painter, Ilse is now working as an art critic for Hanoi Grapevine, an art space that connects local and foreign artists. Each exhibit is an opportunity for her and her colleagues to discuss and talk about art, as well as update the latest trend in the world of art.
Với Ilse Burchett thì tôi quen biết bà ấy trong một khoảng thời gian nhiều năm về trước, khi mà chúng tôi từng gặp gỡ và sau đó có một vài cái hoạt động hợp tác trong các cái công việc nghệ thuật khác nhau. Và năm 2014, 2015 thì trong giai đoạn đó thì tôi làm việc, tôi có hợp tác với Bảo tàng Không gian văn hóa Mường ở trên Hòa Bình. Một cái chương trình làm việc về nghệ thuật gọi là eco-art, tức là nghệ thuật làm việc với các cái vật liệu hay là phương cách tự nhiên, sáng tạo tự nhiên, thì tôi có mời Ilse tham gia. Khi mà tôi về làm việc ở Heritage Space từ 2016, rồi tôi có mời Ilse và chồng cô ấy tham dự, tôi gọi là tháng thứ hai nghệ thuật. Cái sự tham gia của cô ấy và cái tác phẩm của cô ấy để lại sau đấy tôi cảm thấy rất là ấn tượng.
With Ilse, becoming an art critic is another way for her to learn more about the other paintings. Each piece is a new door that opens up a lot of inspirations for the composer. The concept of painting is like reading. The more you read, the more things you don't know. Each painter gives her many things to learn, from which she can perfect her own abstract works.
But also I cannot divorce myself from my aesthetic.
Nowadays, the audiences, especially the Vietnamese young people, seems to change so quickly in their taste of painting. So how did you do to satisfy the audience's taste?
Well, it's interesting. Actually, it's true. I observed that Vietnamese young generation are very, very quick. They're well informed, and they want the new, the unknown, the unfamiliar. So I believe that in that sense, they connect with my work, because it's very unfamiliar. So I even had an incident like that when we had an exhibition at Heritage Space with a group of other artists, and a lady approached me, a young Vietnamese woman, and she said, introduced herself, and she kindly said, I am a designer. So as a designer, she's very much interested in the aesthetics, obviously, you know, the beauty of things, because abstraction to a great degree, I mean, every other painting too is concerned with beauty, but in abstraction, perhaps this aesthetic sense is brought forward. So it becomes the first thing you see is it beautiful, is it not? Yeah, people react to this. And she looked at my work and she said, do you know, I think other things that I see here, I've seen before, similar things. But this I've never seen. So I was very pleased. To me, it was a great compliment. That means that this newness, okay, to her, she perceived something unique. She perceived something that perhaps she didn't experience elsewhere before like that.
As far as I know, being an abstract painter, you are also a visual artist. So it means that you have a lot more projects. Can you share something about them?
First of all, I was trained as a muralist. And I graduated with Masters of Art in Mural Art and Techniques from the Academy of Fine Arts in Sofia, Bulgaria. Apart from group shows, I had, at the beginning of this year, I had a personal, it's my very first exhibition in Vietnam, personal Quang Ngo art space, and it's a very small one. When we came to live in Vietnam, and the founder of Hanoi Grapevine saw me commenting on the grapevine.
In addition to having some kind of exhibitions in Vietnam, you already had some kind of exhibitions in other countries in the world. So what is the difference between the art or the painting, especially the abstract one, in Vietnam compared to the other countries?
In the rest of the world, abstract painting was developed long time ago. So we are speaking more than a century. And of course, it goes to Russian constructivism, revolutionary art, you know, of Malevich, and who had enormous influence. In Vietnam, due to historical circumstance and the war and all the transitions that the country and the people have to go through, these things are relatively new. But nevertheless, the communication in the world, yes, through internet and through, you know, all sorts of information is there. And so people can see, they educate themselves very quickly.
Can you share about what do you think that Vietnam should do to develop the art of painting and especially the art of abstract?
I believe that generally there is an element of education in art. And so the more people see, the more people interact with artistic expressions, different artistic expressions, they widen their understanding of the world. Because artists, that's what they're trying to do. They try to show different aspects of things, okay? Different way of looking at things, of perceiving things. And so the more the interaction is there between the arts and the general public, the more varied and the more fluid it becomes, the perception. And so therefore people have much more choice, okay? They're not limiting themselves to one vision only and to say, oh, I like only this. And perhaps some educational programs for art in general. And I think that mass media, especially TV, would play an enormous role, very, very important, crucial role in fact, you know, putting the public together with the arts.
Thank you, Miss Ilza, for all of your sharing today on this kind of artwork. We do hope that you have more successful artwork projects in Vietnam. That is the end of our program today. If you have any comment or question, please email it through sharingvietnam@netvietTV.net. Thank you and see you next time.